For many centuries now, people have researched and debated the First Amendment right and what it truly means. People have really researched it and have been trying to figure out what our founding fathers meant when they established the First Amendment right in our Constitution. Well, when it was first established, many people thought what the true meaning of the First Amendment was that whatever you say or whatever believed you were allowed to say in the ruling of a court or in the household of a court or something like that. However, as people kept studying it, people kept formulating different ideas. However, the First Amendment right has always been argued and will always continue to be argued as a natural right that is given to us naturally instead of a fundamental right. However, many people groups have come out and said that no, this is a fundamental right, however, is subjugated to change, and that we should change what the First Amendment right actually means. However, once you start really delving into it and start actually trying to change the First Amendment right, ultimately you're kind of changing the way that we think and the way that we talk. You see, for example, if you're in a scenario, say like you're walking down the street with your friend discussing sports or something like that of that matter. You say you make the comment that the Kansas City Chiefs are an overrated football team. Some fan who's a Kansas City Chiefs fan thinks that what you said is the most offensive thing in the world and says that you should not say something like that, especially if it's offensive to someone like him who's a Kansas City Chiefs fan. Well, despite that, what your belief is, some people may subjugate you to change your thinking and change your beliefs, even though that you are freely allowed to express your thinking on that matter. This now creates a problem and a controversy of, well, what can I say and what can I not say? As we start to subjugate people and telling them, look, you can only say these things and you cannot say these things because they're offensive, now you start to limit the way that we can think. Once you start to limit the way that we can think, you start to limit the way that we can formulate ideas and formulate opinions, really formulate what is morally right to us and what is morally wrong to us. When we start to break down and kind of see that we cannot really function if we cannot fully express our thinking in our way that we speak. You see, we are taught to speak at a young age. As we're growing up, our family or our parents will teach us to speak. As they teach us to speak, that allows our brain to grow. And this has been also scientifically proven that as we learn to speak, our brain starts to grow and we start to formulate ideas for ourselves. They might tell us this means no, but in your mind you might say, well, maybe I don't want that to be no. As your brain starts to mature that way, that's how you start to formulate different ideas. Now, we kind of move on down the line and start to see that a famous psychologist by the name of Dr. Jordan Peterson, he once came out and said that in order to think, you have to risk being offensive. And that's really the ultimate thing behind the First Amendment right. Despite what people say about what our founding fathers may have thought to believe about the First Amendment right, ultimately what the First Amendment right is, I have my own beliefs, and whether it offends you or not, that's my own belief because I have that natural right to believe what I want to believe. Someone does not have to subjugate me to thinking that this is right, because to me that may not be right. I may have been raised this certain way and may have been raised on these certain principles, but as I've grown up, maybe I think that those certain principles are not my principles that I want. Thus, it gives us the natural right to freely think the way that we want to think. Many people have argued that the First Amendment right was established by our founding fathers for certain use within the court system and stuff like that. When the First Amendment right was established, it was very vague the way that our founding fathers established it, leaving it that the press can do what the press can want, that they can ask you questions, and it is our right that we can formulate religious groups, worship certain things, or worship in this country no matter the religion, and speak freely. However, it was never distinguished what that meant, that we could speak freely. As this has gone on, many people groups have come out and said that certain things are offensive to say. However, it does not say that we are not allowed to say that. In our Constitution, we have the constitutional right to speak freely the way that we want to speak. I mean, we should be mindful of what we say to others. However, it does not stop us or negate the fact that we have an open mind and we can establish what our own thinking is and what our own beliefs are through the First Amendment right.